Welcome to Hip Hop Now Podcast. If you're from the future, you know what to do. Get your ass out of here. Don't disrespect the legend. Hip hop is here to stay. Let's get right into the business. What up, y'all? I am your host, Vegas, and this is Hip Hop Now Podcast, a podcast specifically designed to keep you caught up on all things hip hop, music, and culture that happened throughout the week. This is officially a Hip Hop Now Podcast bonus episode. What that mean? Just means I'm going to focus on one topic at hand. And today we're going to focus on Listgate. What do I mean? Okay, well, let's get right into the business. Why don't we? So, if you have been under a rock and you're not aware of what typically happens on social media from time to time, particularly hip-hop social media, multiple times throughout the year, hip-hop media outlets will put out a list. Top albums of all time, greatest MCs, you name it. Top 100, top 50, top 20. And generally speaking, like, I'm with it because we tend to do our own lists. We have a little group chats that have lists. We post our own lists on social media. So it's all fun. It's all good to debate. And to see what other people think about these lists. But the issue, focusing on the media side, hip-hop media, the issue that comes up is some of these lists feel like there's a goal in mind, right? Whether the intention is to engage followers and people on the internet, go viral, obviously wanting all of that traffic to come back to your website. And whether intentional or not, what has typically been the case for sites like Complex or Rolling Stones, and in today's case, Pitchfork, is it seems like it's an attempt to go viral, right? Because generally speaking, when these lists drop and I look at the comments, no one is pleased. Or in a lot of ways, even outraged. And I think some of that has to do with, lists are subjective. Oh, yo, why you ain't include, the Corner Street Posse on this list? Because no one knows them. But it's great that they're on your list. So on one hand, you get it. This is this organization. This is how they came up with this list. And it is what it is. This is their criteria for the list. On the other hand, you feel like, where were these hip hop lists back in the blog era like that? Like, we know people wrote blogs about it, and I'm not saying it didn't exist. You can go on the internet and find some of these same places creating lists. But I feel like the controversy is beneficial to these websites. Now, I know you're saying to yourself, well, yeah, okay, subjective, right or wrong, so who cares? This is why we care, right? Pitchfork just dropped their own list. Let me change my layout real quick. Their own list that essentially does something that I think personally maybe they should be called out on, right? I don't know. You tell me. But here's the list right here. And it is the 100 best rap albums of all time. We rank, not us, but Pitchfork, we rank the most essential and influential albums of this quintessentially American art form. Here's where the problem begins. Pitchfork has a reputation for scoring some of the best hip-hop albums extremely low. Like, they have a straight up reputation with hip hop heads for getting it wrong majority of the time when it comes to reviewing some of the greatest hip hop albums of all time, even albums that are currently accepted as dope. They tend to give them an extremely low score, like 6 or something like that. The King's Disease series, boy, they were just saying all that stuff was average to Pitchfork. So people being upset with this list in particular makes sense. And you see what they said: most essential and influential albums. To hip hop heads, there are certain albums that universally we feel, whether we like them or not, need to be on a list of this caliber. Now, this is what makes it funny, because when you go to 100, look at what's at 100. Snoop Dogg, Doggy Style, out of 1993. Now, granted, it's on the list, so they got that right, but it's the last album on the list. And some may say, well, look, man, everybody ain't like that. Everybody feel like it wasn't as good as The Chronic or blah, blah, blah. Whatever reason you come up with, but let's look at the album that's ahead of it, just in one slot. Who is this? Dwap Kane, Underdog, from 2018. An album that is clearly inspired by Doggy Style, at least the artwork. What we talking about here? What we doing? What are we doing? Now, granted, this is their list. I'm pretty sure their staff came up with it. But again, a publication that has a track record of getting reviews of albums wrong, just wrong amongst music fans, hip hop heads, whatever. To me, it says, who is the committee for these albums? Who is the committee for these lists? Now, granted, or maybe not committees for the reviews because one person reviews it, but nevertheless, who's reviewing hip hop on here that we could feel like, well, at least they know. I'm not saying Doggy Style has to be top 10, but again, there are certain albums within hip hop's history that you expect to not only be on this list, but at least fall somewhere between 50 and number 1. And to have Doggy Style damn near miss the list seems crazy. And in a lot of ways makes me interested in who this guy is, because guy or girl, whoever. Because how did they get in front of Doggy Style? As far as being influential and essential? But most hip hop heads have never heard it. Most, not those who have heard it. So I'm not going to go through the whole list, right? This is a quick episode, but let's just scroll to the top 10. And if we see something crazy, let's see what happens, right? So where are we at? 70. Well, at least the Jungle Brothers is on here at 71. Jeezy, Let's Get It, Thug Motivation 101. Albums again, that should make this list. Positioning doesn't matter. Wait, hold up. I see what's here, and some of it makes sense. The Chronic, though, is at 62. Again, I think the Chronic has an equal level of impact. Or maybe Doggy Style has more, right? Because that album was a big deal. Doggy Style was a big deal when it was going to drop. The anticipation was through the roof, and people were, for the most part, satisfied. But nevertheless, let's get to 10, because we've seen some joints in here. I see Pop Smoke is in here. Wait, hold up. Stop. Take Care. Take Care at 47. 100 best rap albums. Now, you may say to yourself, that's not hip hop. Well, me and Tony from Into the Dome podcast, right here on YouTube, did a episode on this channel, Hip Hop Now Pod, of our series, That Time in Hip Hop. And the latest episode is talking about Drake and this particular album, Take Care. Also, we asked the question, is it a classic? I guess Pitchfork believe so. But we also asked the question, is it hip hop? Is Drake hip hop? So you can check that out. But here's where I really wanted to go. 46, 50 Cent and G Unit, 50 Cent is the future. Do they not know this is a mixtape? Who up there? Who all up in there? Who you with? Who in there talking about these things? I'm trying to get to 10. Trying to get to 10. I saw To Pimp a Butterfly was in there, you know, Slick Rick or whatever. Biggie at 21, the Wu. Man, it's getting crazy as we get to the 15. A lot of people showing up that should be here. Okay, should be here no matter what the order may be. Let's go to top 10. Mad Villainy, MF Doom, and Madlib. I'm not mad at this being in the top 10. I'm sorry. It's should be. Outkast, Aquemini. I'm not mad at this being in the top 10. It's my favorite Outkast album. Again, subjective. I'm also not mad at this. Clips, Hell Have No Fury. This is probably the Clips' best album, but I think Let God Sort 'Em Out is creeping on them. Number 7. Lauryn Hill, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. Lauryn Hill is hip hop, but there was more singing on this album than hip hop. So again, the argument of Drake being hip hop, there's more rapping on Take Care than there is on The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. So what's a hip hop album? Number 6, Rich Gang, The Tour Part 1. I have no idea who this is. Okay, I do. But I've never heard this. I am rest in peace, Rich Homie Quan. I kind of like him. Sort of like Young Thug. Maybe I should check this out. You tell me. Number 5, Illmatic. Had to at least be in the top 5. The conversations around this album all the time happen frequently on social media. There's no reason why this wouldn't be in the top 5. Number 4, Ghostface, Supreme Clientele. I'm not mad at this, but I kind of feel like if you're going to say essential and influential, Supreme Clientele should absolutely be on this list of 100. But being ahead of Wu-Tang Clan's Into the 36 Chambers contradicts what this list is supposed to be. No way Supreme Clientele is more influential than Wu-Tang's debut album. It just isn't. Still one of my favorites. Juvenile, 400 Degrees. I'm not mad at this. I mean, it wouldn't make my top 5 or my top 10. But I'm not mad at it being on the list because it was like when that high joint dropped in 98 along with the remix with Jay-Z on it, it felt like rap just shifted. And that was Juvenile and Cash Money that did that. And Manny Fresh on the beats. All right, now it's going to get tricky. Tupac, All Eyes on Me. I'm not mad. This album should definitely be on this list of 100. Number 2 is Extreme because the second CD for me personally has a lot of skips. And maybe it's a lot now versus back then when it dropped in 96. Definitely a dope album. I feel comfortable calling it a classic. It's one of the better double albums. But number 2, maybe. Tupac was doing some things back then in 96. And number one is Mobb Deep, the infamous Mobb Deep's sophomore album, not their debut. I love Infamous album. I love Mobb Deep. Can't wait for the new album to drop. But this is ridiculous. Mainly because this album should absolutely be on this list. Even top 10. I'd say top 10. It should be on this list. But number one, an album that Prodigy said was inspired by Illmatic, yet is in front of Illmatic on a list that's about albums that are influential and impact. I don't know, but I think this list is clearly, hold on, I gotta stop sharing my screen real quick. This list is clearly a reaction to the internet, to the conversations in the internet, a little spice thrown in there to break things up, right? But that number one is definitely a reaction. Now, you would say to yourself, well, why? It's Mobb Deep. I mean, they're popular, but they're not that popular. Dog. Shook One's Part 1? It's extremely popular on the internet for some reason. We've always known that beat, you know what I'm saying? The intro to All the Killers and the $100, everything about it is classic nostalgia and all that good stuff. But it seems like in recent years, it's almost like the Big L thing, right? Where Big L, everybody knew he was nice and dope in hip hop throughout the years, but over the years with social media, it's almost as like, no, people say Big L's better than everybody. And it's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Where were you in the 90s? No one said that. No one. Some people even said he's basically just Lord Finesse. But you, casual, you probably don't even know who that is, do you? Right? Big L was introduced via a Lord Finesse album. But Big L is dumb nice, but everything on the internet is kind of changed around his narrative. And I think it's the same thing with Mobb Deep. This is what's happening, and it's a double-edged sword. The discovery of these classic artists, albums, songs that some of us have known and listened to for years is excellent, but it is trending, right? You go on YouTube now, dudes from a younger generation who are hip-hop heads, some of them are faking it, but some of them are going back and listening to music in bars and like being enamored by 90s hip-hop in particular. And Shook Ones is like extremely popular, right? From memes to everything, always. And I hope that results in people listening to their new album, let alone their catalog. But at number one on a 100 list, and you talking about influence, not influencers, but influence in hip hop. Let me go back to their definition of their list again. It just seems not to make sense when you say we rank the most essential and influential albums of this American art form. Should absolutely be on the list. A lot of the stuff I saw should be on the list. But when you're ranking them from 100 to 1, you're saying to us, Mobb Deep's The Infamous is the most essential and influential album out of these 100. That's crazy talk. So to wrap it up, I think these lists are great just for the hip hop conversation. So I'm not that mad at it. I think it's a little weird for, again, a publication who tends to get albums that most hip hop heads agree that are pretty dope. They tend to rate them extremely low sometimes. And it seems weird. It seems like their hip hop knowledge and scale is a little off. Thus, this list makes a lot of sense for this website. Now, I don't necessarily like to constantly cover these types of topics, but at the end of the day, sometimes it can be fun. So, what do you think about Pitchfork's Top 100 Hip Hop Albums list? The link to view the entire list, because I'm not a hater, is in the description of the episode. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments section below. Subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 25,000 subscribers by the end of 2025. We're approaching 21,000. So if you enjoyed this video and want to see more content, subscribe to the channel, like the video because that helps out. Become a member. That information is in the link in the description of this episode. And more importantly, share it with people you know enjoy this kind of content. Until next time, y'all, I'm not a critic. I'm a hip hop fan. Peace.